Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Empowered to Advocate podcast. This is Dana Marie. I am joined here with Michelle, and we are going to give you a quick little nugget of a podcast today. So we are going to really quickly go through the timelines in special education that we think that you should know and be aware of. We've actually dropped these timelines in multiple other places over the last year or so, whether it's in our webinar or in another podcast episode, but we thought it was helpful to dedicate just this short little mini podcast to timelines in case this is something that you're really trying to figure out or learn more about in a way that's easy. And did I say quick? Because I'll say quick again. So with that, I'll turn it over to Michelle.
Quick. So the first timelines that we're going to look at here or listen to is when we are requesting an evaluation. So when you write a letter requesting testing for your child, the school district has 5 days to respond to that request. So you should expect to receive a consent form either in the mail or email, depends on how the district operates. The team chair or ETL might actually reach out to you and say, hey, I received your request. These are the next steps. Please reach out with any questions. Like that would really be best practice, but that doesn't always happen. So they have 5 days to respond. Once you receive that consent form in the mail, you want to make sure that you review it and you send it back. Once the district receives that consent form, that's when the clock starts ticking. The district then has 30 days to complete the evaluations on the consent form, and then 45 school days from the date of the consent for the team to come together to review and determine eligibility. Forgot to mention that these are the timelines for Massachusetts. Under IDEA, the timeline is 60 school days. Many states have timelines that are closer to what I just described for Massachusetts. So go ahead.
And that timeline goes for both an initial eligibility and a reevaluation if your child is due for a reevaluation. So then let's move to what if it's just an annual review year. So your child does not need updated testing, does not require any updated evaluations. It's just your annual review. So like Michelle said, best practice, and in Massachusetts, 10 days before the meeting is scheduled, you should hear from somebody at the school informing you of the date and the time of the annual review meeting so that you have time to see if it works for your schedule. If it does not work for your schedule, you can absolutely reach out to somebody at the school and request to have that changed. But you should have at least 10 days to consider whether the day and time that the school has proposed worked for you. Now, you are at the actual IEP meeting. You are obviously part of the team. You're helping to develop this IEP at the annual review meeting. When the meeting ends, you should receive a summary of the meeting. You can also request the attendance sheet from the meeting. And then the formal draft IEP for your consideration should come home to you within 10 school days. That can be either by email or in the mail, sometimes comes home with the child. It depends on the district's policy on that, but that should come to you within 10 school days. Once you receive the IEP, you have 30 school days to review it and respond. And that's not 30 days to sign it and get it back, which sometimes is how it's phrased. It's 30 days to respond. So your response does not necessarily have to be just a signature. It can be, I accept some parts of this IEP. I reject other parts of it. It can be, I accept all of it. It can be, I want to meet again because there were things that were not changed or there were things that were not put into the IEP that we discussed at the meeting. So you have those 30 school days just to respond to the school and to the district. Of course, if the IEP looks good to you, it looks like what was talked about at the annual meeting, it looks reflective of the conversation, go ahead and sign it and send it back earlier if you don't need the full 30 days. But just know that you have those 30 days. Helpful because you might have other people reviewing the IEP with you or for you, family members. the child's other parent, an advocate, a lawyer, someone who might be looking at the IEP with you or for you. So that's why you get that kind of chunk of time to look at it. In between all of these, an annual review, a reevaluation, all of these happen either once a year or every 3 years. In between these, you should be getting updates on your child's progress through progress reports. We actually mentioned this, I think, in our previous episode or maybe 2 episodes ago, but you should be getting progress reports as often as you get report cards. And those progress reports should specifically speak to the goal areas that your child is working on through their IEP. So if your child is getting a report card 4 times a year, you should be getting progress reports about goals 4 times a year. If your child's getting a report card, sometimes for the younger kiddos, it's only twice a year, you should get progress reports twice a year. So that's a timeline that goes along with the school and the district's timeline around report cards and when those are sent home to you. But it's important to note that when those are sent home to you, you should also be getting the progress reports as well.
And I think one of the things to make note of here is also when we say you have 30 days to respond to the proposed IEP, if you don't respond in those 30 days, the district will then resend it to you with a letter saying you had 30 school days to respond. You know, sometimes it's because people forgot or whatever. Then you have another 30 days. If you don't respond to the district, either with an accept, a rejection, or a partial, if there's no response within those 60 days, the district then has to file that with the Bureau of Special Education Appeals, the BSEA, as a rejected IEP. And meanwhile, your child is still working on their previous IEP. And we'll kind of talk about this in another episode, but just know that those timelines are not there to be a pain in your butt, but the school district wants to make sure that they're able to appropriately progress your child along with a new plan. And if they don't have a response from you, they're unable to work off anything but the old plan until they have their response. So just wanted to put that caveat there.
And the last piece that we want to mention is if you are new to the special education process, if you are going through the eligibility process for the first time, an initial eligibility, we have a couple of great resources for you that include these timelines and can kind of help you navigate that process. So we are going to make sure that they're linked here, but if you head to our website, you can find our recording of a webinar that we did actually a few months back on the eligibility process. And you can also find our 1-page eligibility cheat sheet. And that cheat sheet will include, for the state of Massachusetts, all of the timelines that were discussed here today, all in one place. And so, like I said, take a look at the show notes for the link there, but also head to our website and you can find those 2 resources, which include the timelines specifically for initial and reevaluation meetings. And of course, if you have any questions at all about timelines, we often hear from parents who say, I think I was supposed to get a report already and I never got it. Or I think they were supposed to send the IEP, but I'm not sure when they were supposed to send it and I never got it. Please reach out to us, schedule a free 20-minute consult with us. Let us help you navigate that and kind of point you in the right direction to ensure that the school and the district are adhering to the timelines that they should be for your child and their IEP.
Great. All right. Thanks so much for listening in, and we look forward to chatting with you in the next episode and hearing from you in the future. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everyone.